Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.
Stuart, hello. Good to speak with you again. How are you doing bodies-wise, firstly, after Monday? How's Gareth Evans?
No, Gareth he'll be a couple of weeks, a bit similar to Zelly, just a tightening in his hamstring. I think speaking to him there, the workload we do Monday to Friday is a little bit heavier than what he was used to at Portsmouth, so that might be a reason, but it's nothing major. If I'd have spoke to you this morning, as I said, bodies-wise we were fine, but incredibly enough, we've had 4 pull out of training this morning, which probably shows the intensity it was at. But yeah, could be better news. I don't think any of them are serious, but a couple might miss Saturday, unfortunately.
Can you tell us who those are?
No, I can't, Jamie. No, obviously I can't tell you who they are. Couple were knocks. One rolled an ankle, and the other one, as in shooting, tweaked his knee. So them two knocks you can get over, but when if it's a ligament and a knee or an ankle, it can be different. So we'll just have to wait 24 hours and see how they are.
How big an influence then does that take on your team selection for Saturday, or is it just a wait and see at this moment in time?
Yeah, exactly that. It's wait and see. We've got an idea how we want to play. We were having 11v11 as the injuries occurred, unfortunately. So we had to change things a little bit about. But that's football. That's what you got to deal with sometimes. It's just very rare you get 4 in one sort of 40-minute session of 20 minutes each way. So, but as I said, hopefully a couple of them might be okay. And even if there's a couple that miss Saturday, I'd like to think they're not going to be long-term anything serious.
Other than the obvious disappointment of today's knocks, how has training been since Monday?
Yeah, okay, a little bit. As you can imagine, we were in Tuesday straight after. That was a bit of a, the lads who didn't play trained. They were bright enough, but naturally, when you've put in a under par performance, there's not going to be a vibrance. It takes time. It's been a long couple of days. Disappointment still lingers when you do as well as you'd like to do naturally. So, but as I said, that's in the past now. We've got to move on, and we've got to look to Saturday.
As a manager, how do you address that disappointment? Is it a case of putting it behind you straight away, or do you look to learn from those mistakes and use it as a building platform?
No, yeah, you've got to look to learn, win, lose or draw, and analyse, every game. So we went over this morning with the lads, things that we would like to have done better and should have done better. I think you always listen. You should, as a manager and coach, always be, self-analytical. And I went home that night and thought things I could have maybe done better. And I think when you look at a system, we decided to go on the diamond system. And I think if any system is suited for the diamond to work, it will be against a 4-4-2 because you've got, a dominant area in the middle of the park. That didn't really materialise. We got Billy on it a few times. Billy was first to admit, he wanted top of his game, but that were like majority of us, if we're honest. But your width, you've got to get from your fullbacks. As I said after the game, we didn't get Woody or Tyler higher enough and up to put any dangerous balls in. Our biggest chances, and 3 good chances, came from probably direct play down the middle with the 2 centre forwards and runners off them. Their 2 best chances is the goal and obviously cross from Stead with 2 good crosses, which we've been actually doing well throughout the season. So that was a key area. Got to do better to stop crosses coming in, firstly. But then I just thought, we always get plaudits if you pick the right system and you go out and, you hear managers and play people say, oh, the game plan worked. But I think the game plan can only work if the players can carry it out and do and on top of the game. I think our game plan would have been okay. Certainly, the diamond can work if effective, as long as everyone's on top of the game, and we weren't. And in fairness, I think the other night it was 2 decent sides. One played really well in Harrogate and one underperformed in Bradford. And I'm not just saying it's as simplistic as that, but I knew all along and have done, watching Harrogate a couple of times, they're a good, well-drilled outfit and they played on top of the game. Most of their lads were high marks performance-wise. Unfortunately for us, we never. But it's one game. Yes, of course, we've got to learn from it. I've got to learn from it. tactically maybe in different systems that we play. But if I'm honest, like I say, I think, if you're playing against a 4-4-2, as well oiled as that is, we still got in areas that we could have hurt them. First half we got, in there, but we never. And obviously straight after the half time, I think we, as much as they've had a lot of shots on goal, maybe from distance and whatever, and certainly put pressure on, they deserve to beat us. We've had 3 really, really good chances, and we've not taken them. So that's what we've got to work on naturally as well.
Is it better than to have that performance, and I suppose that learning curve early on in the season, so you can rectify those wrongs for the longevity?
Listen, Jamie, I'm sure we'll go. What have we got? 40 odd games left. We won't be perfect in every game. There'll be, we look at Cheltenham the other night, got beat home at Grimsby 3-1. They were going to be a banker to win at home. Where they've been going. They've lost at home to Morecambe, but they've won the 3 away games. You can look at many results. Teams are not going to be on it, week in, week out. So there will be times, as much as we'll learn from a defeat and like to improve on it, there's not a lot in this division. You want to have a consistency. You need to be on your game more often than your opponents, naturally, if you want to succeed. But it's not a case you have one disappointing performance and that's the season finished or anything like that. You're after consistency, and we know we can be better, and hopefully we will be.
Do you stick with the diamond then going into Mansfield, or do you size them up and change accordingly?
Yeah, we always look how we can hurt the opposition. As I said the other night, I thought if we could got Billy Clark on the ball in behind their midfield 2, going at the back line, and the fullbacks high up, it in theory, it could have been a good system. I'm always going to be make a different change for Mansfield, who play 3 big centre backs, a holding midfielder sat in front, which would eliminate the number 10 really. So no, it's always horses for courses, but not in a way that we're looking how we can get the best out of our players that can inflict the most damage on the opposition, really.
I was seeing the comments of one of your former players, James Perch, who was speaking about an hour ago, actually, from a Mansfield perspective. He was reckoning a pretty open and expansive game between you both. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, Perch is the one who sits in front of the back 3 and does a good anchoring role. And it's I was at their game last week. It was a 0-0 against Stevenage. Tight game, which most games are at this level. We've started off, solidly, I would say. But every game's been tight. Every game's been tight. Even the Harrogate game the other night, even though we accept they were better than us, we still have some good opportunities, to maybe got a better result. Yeah, again, I think it'll be a tight game against Mansfield. I really do. They've probably not got off to the start they would like to get off to, but as I said, they had a good solid performance last week against Stevenage in a 0-0.
You referenced the Grimsby Cheltenham result midweek, which to my own admission was quite a surprise as well. But is that then a reflection of where this league is at this season? And I suppose, to caveat that, does the salary cap at all play a part in what we may see this season? Does it neutralise it somewhat?
I honestly don't know about that, but I just think there is a lot of similarities in a lot of teams this year. I think it's tight. I'll watch one game one week and think, wow, they're a good side. Then watch them the next week and think, not as good. Even again last week, Salford at home to Tranmere. Tranmere without 10 players, 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, and they come back and get something there. But I think there's been lots of results like that. I mean, Morecambe, who sit at top of the league, got beat at home at Cambridge 5-0. So it's on the day. You've got to be at your best as much as you can. As I say, you can't be for every game, 46 games, but as long as the majority of your players are on top of the game, you will come out winning more than you lose. So it's and you've got to have a mindset of, okay, we got beat the other night. Disappointing, naturally, for all of us, for everybody. But it's not the end of the world. We've got another game on Saturday and we've got to go. And if you get selected, make sure you keep the jersey.
Final couple from me. I wanted to ask you about Project Big Picture, which has seemingly been and gone now, and then we've got the new development from the Premier League that there will be a rescue package for League One and Two. What are your thoughts on how that's developed, and did you have any fears or admiration for Project Big Picture?
Didn't have a lot to do with it, to be honest, or thoughts of it. I think obviously it was the day of our game, it broke, so I was more concentrating on the game. And plus it was just proposals. So, I'm never going to be involved in the decision making of a proposal. So when the proposals come out and they happen, then you deal with it. A lot of things I could see were never going to happen. So I didn't take a great deal of interest in. But obviously, since that's come out, the Premier League have got together and the PFA, I think, and put them another package to help Division 1 and 2 clubs. So obviously that's helpful, and that's what, as long as no clubs go out of business, that's what is needed. Again, I think some of it's grants, some of them are loans. But I think it's common knowledge and common sense, really. Clubs will struggle if we can't get fans back into the stadium. It's natural. It's like every business, walk of life, be it pub, restaurant, whatever you're doing, the arts, cinema. If you can't get people to come in, then you're going to lose money, and that's what's happening. So, again, without knowing in too much detail, but I think they've decided to help out the lower level clubs, and obviously that's a positive.
And finally, as well, we're 24 hours away from deadline day version 2, as I'm going to call it, for this domestic window anyway. I mean, are you at all in the market still? Can we expect any more business from a Bradford City perspective, or is that you done now for this window?
I think it's probably is done. Yeah. Again, at this stage, I think we've got enough numbers, even though we had them few injuries today. I would only like to bring in somebody if they can improve us, and it's a guarantee improvement. I don't want to just bring another body in for it. We were, again, I were in close talks over the last week or so with a Premier League lad and club, and I think it would have been a good creative one to bring in. But unfortunately, the club have decided he's done that well this season, that they want to keep him around the first team. So, but other than that, I don't see anything happening. And, but again, if something came up that was going to really improve us and make us better, then obviously we're open to that. So never say never, Jamie, but I was a little bit more hopeful yesterday, but that's gone by the way on that one. Another couple we might have a little sniff at, but if not, listen, we've got a squad that I think is more than capable to be competitive, out with the other night's, disappointment performance. And then it comes down to a manager and coaches getting the best out of what we've got. And we believe we'll be able to do that.
Just on the flip side of that, we've spoken about this before, but potential players going out on loan at all. And I know there was a couple of concerns given the current COVID climate that we're living in. I mean, is there any scope in that, or are you much far happier keeping them in-house?
Yeah, in-house at the moment. I think they'd still be able to go non-league, would they? I don't know. I think they'd be able to still go non-league. Would they still be able to go out of the league? Somebody help me.
I'm sure on that.
Yeah, no, I think you can still go out of the league if they go into, for example, the younger lads. I think we did that last year. I think that would be the case. But at the moment, again, it just shows you can be going along comfortably with no injuries, and then you have 4. So, we need bodies about at this minute in time.
Stuart, thanks for that, and good luck for Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
As you said, you weren't really involved with the project big picture, and you didn't really have anything to do with it, but you have played at the highest level. Is there a disconnect between that level and the grassroots of the game, really?
Yeah, it's funny because I've just read a little bit there about, Premier League clubs, as we see. Listen, we know the money that they pay out, the fees that they pay, the weekly wages that they pay, the money that the income they get in from obviously the TV revenues and sponsorship and everything is massive, obviously, compared to where we are. But just like us and teams at our level, they're losing money, monthly. They talk about 100 million. A lot of clubs are losing. So you've got to have a balance of that. Everyone initially wants to look after get their own house in order, get the best players they can and look after themselves. But I think there's a feeling towards keeping the pyramid strong, and hopefully that's going to be the case and helping out the lower leagues.
And obviously, mentioning the lower leagues needed helping out. I think it was the chair of the EFL that said that he could see several clubs going out of business in the next few weeks. Is that's got to be a major concern, particularly at League Two level?
Yeah, League One as well. I've seen some comments. You don't know if it's scaremongering or if it's true. But listen, I think again it's common sense. If there's no money coming through, you know, the turnstiles or other revenues you get from, you know, opening your you know, doors up to get public back in to watch and spend money in and around the football club, then it's our only real source of revenue. So, you know, we don't get big bucks from the TV companies like maybe the Championship do. We don't get as much money up there and being in that level. So, and every penny counts. But hopefully, and I said it last week, it's okay saying there's money there, then it's being responsible with it. You know, nobody wants to see any club go out of a business naturally, but you've got to spend within your means and look after your football club.
And presumably, Bradford City are a prime example of that now. They're living within the means of what they have.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, there's still money there. You know, they're up to the cap. If and when, you know, looking likely more January now. But yeah, it's listen, I was been here. The times where the club has gone into administration, I just left the time it did. So, you know, but no, I think the club, I'd like, you know, I've looked after how you know, COVID has affected as well as we possibly can. And we've got to continue doing that naturally.
Okay, thanks very much. Good luck on Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Stuart, I know you're a big fan of the England football team. You said about obviously keeping the pyramid strong. I think was it the other day that there was only Jadon Sancho was the only player who'd not been involved in the EFL in that team at the time. I mean, that's surely a selling point in terms of, you know, backing up this support, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they must have acknowledged that themselves, you know, when they've had the meeting. But again, you know, it depends who's making the decisions. The owners of the club, if you've got a lot of foreign owners of clubs in the Premier League, are they really that bothered about bringing players through for England national team? Probably not. But no, yeah, it's a good point. That I think. Listen, it's football. It's your community. It's in the country. You know, a lot of football clubs are the lifeblood of the city or the town or whatever it may be. So I think it's naturally key to do that. Yeah.
And obviously in terms of the transfer window, as you say, I mean, presumably there's also the free agent market, of which there's still a lot out there, aren't there?
Yeah, and I find that if I were a player now in the free agent market, I'd be thinking, why am I still a free agent? Have I outpriced myself? You know, is no clubs wanting me? I mean, we're how many months into the season now? You know, we've been back training since what, July, August, September, October. So, yeah, they possibly are. But I find it, unless there's specific reasons, you know, a mentality for a footballer should be to get to a club and play football because that's what you love doing, not sitting about waiting for the best deal or umming and ahhing. Now, there might be odd occasions, you know, that people, for certain reasons, I might have only just been paid up last week or been cut short to become a free agent. But for a lot of them, you know, if you've got a desire to play football, then why are you sitting on your backside for the last 3 or 4 months? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I suppose as a manager, that probably goes into your thought process when you look at the list of names and sort of think, yeah, he's a good player, but when did he last play? Why has he not played? I suppose it probably does hold you back a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, unless there's, you know, there's might be, you know, specific reasons for that. But, you know, you look at the desire to go and play. You know, is it because you're waiting for the next few quid? Is it because you don't fancy that team or that league or whatever it is? But surely it comes as time within yourself. Mm-hmm. If you class yourself as a professional footballer, you're watching everybody, having been out for 6 months, and you're watching everyone going back here, originally training, then playing, then surely you want to get out and be involved in and what you're supposed to get paid for and being back in the dressing room. So, yeah, it's it would have to be somebody, you know, with a reason for being like that. I wouldn't really want to take somebody on board now because, you know, there's nobody else left and that. Again, you know, we've got enough bodies. I don't want to just bring a body in for the sake of bringing a body in naturally, unless we got, you know, hit with loads of injuries, which hopefully won't happen. But got to be bringing somebody in that's going to try to make us better if that was going to be the case.
And also, as you said before, you know, there's the January window, which let's not forget we're in October, mid-October now. It's not like it before. You're talking 5 months. You're literally talking what two and a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And again, I'm not going to get all beat up about a disappointing performance the other night. Yes, and people might think we need this, we need that, but we'll work the best we can with what we've got at this moment in time, and I'm happy with what we've got. So it's down then to us to get the best out of them, and put in, performances like we've done okay up to the other night's game, taking obviously the 45 minutes against Lincoln out. It's been a solid start, but there'll be ups and downs, as I said, in the season. There'll be some results you look at, but I think it was the general performance that was disappointing because. We know we can be better individually and collectively. I think there are a lot of disappointed people after the game, and running into Tuesday and Wednesday, if I'm honest, especially it's the first time you got a chance to be on the telly, and obviously your family's watching, etc., etc. So there are a lot of disappointment because it happens in life. You want to be your best, you weren't. So make sure next time we go out, we are better.
Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.